What's up, guys? Today I am at the Civic Center in downtown Peoria because I am going to QuadCon. I only have about $200. That was the budget that I was able to acquire. That's not much, but let's go see what we can find. We're talking comics, we're talking toys, we're probably talking video games, who knows? I don't think there's anybody here necessarily that I want to meet, but let's be honest, I ain't here to meet people. I'm here to pretty much toy hunt. Let's do that. That's today. So I've made my first round. It's a pretty solid convention. There's a lot of cool stuff here. Now we gotta buy stuff. Okay, so getting here right when it early helped me to fight the crowds because I did walk around and I did do some shopping. I gotta do this part of the video first because I have a couple of presents that I'm gonna be handing out. I went in there with $200. Now, when the little thing that I just showed where it's kind of going around and showing you some of the store areas and what I looked at, I didn't really showcase any cosplayers this time because that's really not what I was there for. Cosplay is cool. I really do enjoy it. I think it's a fantastic art, but it's simply not what I was there for. It wasn't my intention this time. It wasn't on my mind, so I really didn't take pictures with cosplayers or anything like that. That being said, I picked up two things for my wife. So I got this Sailor Moon figure, and that was about 30 bucks. And I got this Sailor Moon figure, which, to be honest, I'm in debate as to whether or not she will get this figure. This one I might keep. I've never been big into Sailor Moon. That's not really me. But being around my wife for as long as I've been around my wife, she loves Sailor Moon. And I've inevitably picked one that I like the most. I tend to like the one that's kind of, that's that one. I like her. I don't know why, but Jupiter, it could be the Bruce Lee comparisons that I keep seeing, and also she's lightning. And back when I used to play, back when I used to do like, I used to be part of kind of like a bunch of different stuff, video game wise. On this channel, you'll see that kind of stuff all the time. My favorite thing for a long time with that stuff was to focus on lightning. I liked lightning magic, the effects. That was like my favorite effect back then is what I'm trying to say. So like lightning kind of drew me to her, and then the Bruce Lee reference and things like that. I don't know. That may actually go on my shelf as being the thing that I like Sailor Moon wise that my wife is into. Then just to do it, I found Red Sonja cards, which these collector cards, I even have a video on the channel that talks all about these collector cards and how they used to be all over the place. And then I got this for my wife because she's a New Kids fan. I have zero interest in it, but hey, I got Jurassic Park for my kid because she's on this huge dinosaur kick. And the next thing I got for my kid, and I don't want to take it out of the bag, it's this right here. This is a dragon, and maybe I'll get a better shot of it once I get home, but it's a 3D printed huge dragon, like it's pretty big, and I got a shot of it when I was at the little store thing, so maybe I'll just post that. Regardless, it's really cool. It's 3D printed. She already has like this lizard thing that sits on my bookshelf, so now she has that, and I did pretty good for $200 because that's not everything. When I get home, we'll talk about the rest. All right, so now I'm back home, got that part taken care of, and let's talk a little bit about the con. Now, I did start walking around after my first pass, and I started wondering what it was I was going to get. Now, remember, I had a $200 budget, and the first thing I saw that I wanted were these cool little plastic plaque things. They looked really cool. But I knew almost immediately they had to be vintage. Well, I got to talking with the guy that ran the little shop corner, and this is the thing I'm talking about. Well, he comes up and he says, so they're from Brazil, as I believe what he told me, and they're basically a company that has rights to an old retro line of prints, and then they can print that material and put it on new stuff or whatever. So he showed me like basically a computer bag that had like a Skeletor and whatnot on it, and I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought these plaques were cool until I said, so what's the price? And he said, normally I do $75 a plaque. I could sell, if you were buying all three of them, I'd do them at $60 a pop. And I'm like, nope, because that's the end of me right there. I walked in with $200, bam, that's all my money for three little plastic plaques. No, I'm not doing that. My goal was to make sure that I got something out of the trip, that I actually went home with a whole bunch of stuff, and that it was like a trip that was worth actually making. So the more I walked around, I ended up finding the two Sailor Moon statues that I bought. And then I found the really cool dragon thing that I bought, and at the same place that I bought the dragon, I also bought this, which I thought was really cool. This is a really cool 3D skull. Let me hide my face. And it is really, really cool. This thing here is one of those dice roller things, but it's sharp. This is really cool. I saw them. They were rainbow colors, green colors, all kinds of stuff. There was a gray one that I thought about, and this one that I thought about. And I wanted the black one. I just thought it was really cool. And so the next time that I play D&D, which I haven't had a chance to get the guys together to actually play in a good while, we've been, it's tough. It's tough. Some of our guys are not located here anymore. They're out of town and everything, and so it's a real mess to kind of get together and everything and do something like that. But I'm working on it, and for when I finally get everybody back together, we have a dice roller now, and it is really cool. I'm really excited about this one. I think it's really neat. I got the 2 packs of Red Sonja cards. I'm not going to open them right now. Not going to do them on video in general. I'm going to add these to my Conan the Barbarian cards. So the last time I went to one of these conventions, I came across one of those little card shop things, and I found Conan the Barbarian cards. These, right here. And I was like, cool. Conan the Barbarian cards. And I got them all, and I opened them, and I went through them, and they were really cool. They are really cool. And, like, that was it. That was it. At that, I was like, okay, so if I come across more stuff that's kind of like this, I might consider it. I'm not going to get back into card collecting, but maybe as a trope, each time I go to one of the conventions, I'll pick up one of these $5 packs of throwaway dumb things that I get to walk away with some cards. Almost like keeping your childhood alive, because when I was a kid, cards were everywhere and they were everything. Like I said, I did a video on it where I talked about this, and I had a ridiculous amount of them. I've parted with all of them, but I did have a ridiculous amount of them. Now, let's go on to my last 2 bags. I walked across one spot in particular, which was selling plushies. And at first, I was looking for my daughter, but I couldn't remember some of the stuff that she needed or wanted, and I'd already bought her the dragon. So I got a little stingy, a little self-indulgent, and decided I need plushies. The first one I came across that I decided I needed was this. This is a Typhlosion. This is a tiny little fat Typhlosion. And it is fantastic, and it is marvelous, and I love it, specifically because there has not been a single convention that I have went to, and I can't believe this. I honestly can't. My favorite Pokemon ever in the history of the entire series has been the Cyndaquil line. All 3 of these guys, I love them. And it actually kind of rubbed me the wrong way when they released a new Pokemon and they finally put Cyndaquil in it. And I was excited, and I picked him, and I played, and I got to the end, and I got to the third evolution, and it was not this. It was some psychic ghosty guy thing that I really did not like in the least. This guy's Derpface. He's like tiny and ridiculous, but I love him because he is. Finally, after all this time, I came across a little Typhlosion in the wild. I had to get him because favorite Pokemon of all time is that line. Ever. And I never come across it anywhere. I don't know why. And when I do come across it, it's usually horrific quality. It's just not good. And that's always bothered me. And I even went out of my way one time for, I can't remember exactly, it was like a birthday or something like that, but my wife was like, we should buy something, yada yada, this and that, for you. And so she ordered me 2 things. One of the things that she ordered me was supposed to be a Quilava. It never showed up. Ever. Not ever. So I'm like cursed in terms of this line that I love. I'm cursed to never find it. The next thing that I found was this guy right here, this fantastic Lapras. So good. Look at that. Look at that Lapras. Look at him. Ooh, I love this guy. This is awesome. Look, I don't often come here and talk about Pokemon anymore. There's an entire playlist on the channel that talks about Pokemon because I really was, and not was, I am still a pretty big Pokemon fan, but I'm not a competition guy. I like what I like. I like the monsters that I have bonded with over the time that I have played the games and the way that I've played the games. I'm not a min-maxer, and I'm not a meta-gamer. I don't like the meta of video games because I believe that it ruins the gaming experience. First and foremost, for me, and I've had to remind myself about this a couple of times, for me, what is a video game meant to do? Pass time, have fun. Bam. And possibly create a bonding experience with the people that experience it with you. And maybe, if it's the right kind of game, instill a dramatic story that maybe even gets you thinking about something. Maybe you can even learn a lesson. It is an art form. And art, first and foremost, should affect you some way. And that way should be emotionally somehow. You should feel it, you should bond with it, you should relate to it, it should say something. Even if it's just visually. Even if it's just the very first time I ever played Halo, I remember on the Xbox, the original Xbox, I walked over to the corner and I just looked out at the horizon. And maybe this is a bit of a weirdness to me. I'm sure that my mind goes to places like this, but I just sat there and looked at it, man. And like my buddy who was playing the game with me, he didn't care about the graphics at all. The only thing he cared about was like play the game. So he was ready to like he was ready to like run up the hill and do things and fight everybody. And I stopped for a minute and he was like, dude, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm looking at this. And he's like, why? And I'm like, 'cause look at it. And back then, it really did shock me that we'd moved that far in graphics, that it just blew my mind what I was looking at. I grew up Nintendo, NES, Mega Man. My name is ReploidBill. That's where that comes from. Then, years later, I'm playing Halo. And I want to look at the walls, and I want to see the grass, and I like want to look off into the horizon and see how far that draw distance takes me. And I want to see the wonders looking up into the sky and seeing the other part of the ring. It just blew me away. And that's been true for a lot of video games. When I very first turned on the second Tomb Raider of the reboot series, I spent literally about 15 minutes looking at the snow. It just blew me away. I'm talking about the first time I booted it up on my PC and put the ultra high settings on, and I'm climbing the ice at the start, and it was mind-boggling to me. It blew my mind. I didn't want to play the game for a minute. I wanted to see the game for a minute, and that is what I'm talking about. That hits you directly. That is a feeling that you have. So when it comes to these games that people play hard meta for competition, they're min-maxing stats, they're using only the guys that like matter competition-wise, they're tossing out the guys that, that Pokemon sucks. Why does it suck? Because it doesn't have the stats you need? Maybe that's true. It is still a video game, and you still have to play it to a certain extent. You can't just grab your Magikarp and go all up to the end boss or whatever. At some point in time, you'd like it to evolve, but part of that experience is bonding with the creatures, the 6 guys you decided to take with you on this journey. And if that's gone, if all we're doing is breeding 50 guys to like throw 49 of them away to get the one guy that has the stats that I need so that I can breed it into another guy so that then maybe I can get that and get the one egg move that I want, and I'm tired of it. I don't care anymore. Because at that point, it's not a game anymore. To me, at that point, it's a job. And at that point, all the emotional content that existed, everything that I built up that I cared about so much, is gone. And you could say, well, you're going to care because of all the work and time and effort you put into it, it's going to make it very much worth it. And maybe for you, that's true. But for me, it destroys the entire game. It really does. Because what is the value of the character that I picked up at the start of the game? The one guy that I caught, that I wasn't really necessarily, I was like, this guy's kind of cool. So I put him in my team, I switched somebody out of my roster. That guy's gone, sorry, wasn't connected to him yet. Then about 4 gyms in, that guy's like one of my go-to guys. Like, he's really cool. I love his moveset. His look is fantastic. He's grown on me. I like to just have him walking behind me or whatever. It's so cool. It's like one of my favorite guys or whatever. But then all of a sudden, because the meta says that that guy is worthless, or because the meta says that I have to have these exact stats in these exact ways and built this exact way with the EVs and IVs and things and deals, and I'm done. I'm done, because once I start tossing, once I get rid of that guy, I toss him, and maybe it's part also a feeling of old RPG settings, like if I have my Black Mage and then I get another one on the team and I just dip that guy out and put the because this guy's better or whatever, you get the idea. It dissolves that emotional context to the art that I'm experiencing, and it kills it for me. For me, that's part of the reason I bond with these things the way that I do, and the reason I like the ones that I like is because they meant something to me on a personal level, and that's all I cared about. So the last one I found, and the last thing I bought, was this guy, and this guy's amazing. This is one of my favorite Pokemon to have ever existed, ever. This is Cubone. I'm sure I'm not blowing people's mind here. They know what it is. But Cubone, it speaks to me, man. First off, it's tragic, which is so cute in its own right. It's basically a Charmander, which is so cool in its own right, because yes, I loved Charmander when I was a kid as well. But he's also barbaric. You get that? You get where we're going with this? He wears a skull, the skull of his mother, it's claimed, on his head, almost as if she's still with him. And even though this is crazy, ridiculous, morbid, and protecting him to this very day, he has this bone. Whop! He develops in the use of a weapon, a bone. Think of Conan the Barbarian. Whatever is around is my weapon. Sometimes what I need to survive, as he would often put it, a Sumerian with a sword, any kind of blade is dangerous. I am the weapon. Whatever I wield is my extension. It's that simple. And this guy develops over time with the use of a single bone until he's straight up samurai level. This is one of my favorite Pokemon to have ever existed in the entire line of all frickin' Pokemon. And yes, I like his variant as well. So when you can not only show this guy to me once, but 2 different ways and I still like him like that, yeah. And this plushie was fantastic. Look, this skull is even a separate part. If I could take this off right now, and I could see him under here. He even has little eyebrow slits and whatnot, where I can move this. This is a separate piece. This is a separate piece on his head. If I really wanted to, I could pull this up. That's amazing to me. This stands out. And if you're curious at all what line this was or anything like that, if I can get this tag to focus in, this is the tag. And that's the line that I got it from. Well, I got it from the con, but that's the line regardless. And that's what I got. So out of $200, I got 2 Sailor Moon statues. Oh, by the way, my $200, part of that was my entry fee. Just keep that in mind. It cost me $15 to walk into the door. I spent $15 to walk into the door. Then I got 2 Sailor Moon statues. I got a big dragon. I got a dice roller. I got 4 different packs of cards. I got 3 Pokemon. I did all right. Like, look, when I first walked in there, I thought $200, I was almost shooting myself in the foot, because let's be honest about conventions and how fast your money goes away. But like, I made a crazy haul today. I'm shocked. And I got some really good pieces that are going to go into this collection fantastically. That's a bit of a problem. I'm kind of out of room when it comes to my Pokemon spot. But we're gonna figure that out. Because you are staying in here. And you are probably staying in here. And you are definitely staying in here. I know exactly how you're staying in here because I have a window in here. And this guy has one of those little Kabajuka things. So, yeah, that's fantastic. Yes! Absolutely. That was cool. Hey, that was my experience for QuadCon. Like always, comments in the section below. Talk to me, yada yada. But we got so much stuff to open, so much stuff to fix, so much stuff to move, and we have a series of videos that I'm going to do that are coming up where I'm going to go back over the shelves, there's a reason for this, and I'm going to set collection goals. So I'm going to go back over the entire Star Trek shelf and I'm going to say, what is it that needs to be up here? What's my goal for finishing off my Star Trek collection as it stands right now? Not that necessarily that would be the end of all Star Trek collecting forever, but if I had to make a stopping point, what do I want to complete, finish, put on the shelf, and call it 100%? That's a series of videos that's coming up where I'm gonna dissect parts of the shelf and talk about what really deserves to be up here. Because like I said, man, that collector's triangle, that's a very real thing. And what collection means to me, that's a very real thing. All of this stuff should say something about us And this is a museum to ourselves. Every piece up here needs to have a reason to exist, and if it doesn't have a reason to exist, then it needs to go. I'm constantly evaluating my collection. That's what this whole channel is about, and all the fandom that I get to talk about because of it. Like this guy right here. This guy's so fantastic.
I have spoken. Take what you will from it.